he can't get the Feathers Fly off in time and escape from that. And at that point, Vanir are trying to play out the rest of the team fight with a little bit less damage. We are on to the rest for our second game of the evening. Vanir want to win here to keep the pressure up on Verdant, to keep their chances of sneaking into the playoffs alive. Uniq here for championship points and to show off that they're still a team that you can't underestimate.
Both bot lanes have done the same kind of ward to indicate that they don't think they win this lane, when definitely Unique's ward should be a bit further up because the Nautilus should be playing at the back foot there. Nautilus's ward makes a lot of sense, but unsure about Unique's bot lane ward. Does look like Peterson has full stack level 1, so there could have been an early W play from him. Looks like they're moving up now. Maybe the ward is there for this possible level 1 play, but yeah, you'd expect Uniq to have the priority early. If Nautilus gets an early hook on them, that's how Vanir can do something, but it should be difficult for them to do that unless they just both step up like this. No, it's still very difficult for him to do. He's worried about Annie just countering with the W onto Chrisberg as well as touch. So it should be an easy bot lane push for Uniq, in which case that ward's in the wrong place. Nautilus is going to have brush control of the brush closest to his tower, which is where they're going to be playing the next wave from if Uniq have this level of priority. Pull 227, you can see, is winning on the wave initially, possibly, I mean, definitely pushing a bit too fast here, so could be looking at a second wave crash, and that shows he's not quite as experienced on these range versus melee matchups as he is in melee versus anything matchups. Vanir also with... Yep, go on.
The Akali is a pretty mean thing, but I do want to touch briefly on Antwer. We haven't really talked about this Trundle pickup actually too much throughout the early stages. Obviously, a bit of an older tech into the Sejuani, and Bloxy there with the phase rush is going to be a bit more firm against the Trundle if they ever end up coming to blows, but he may just be looking for a gank in the mid lane. This is maybe something that we could see. Paul hovering in the middle of the lane. Luca level 3, not going to blow the flash. They're still going to get a chunk down onto the Victor, but without that defensive summoner spell for the Uniq mid laner, a repeat gank is definitely a possibility.
Paul's still there on third wave, forced to stay there on the fourth wave now because of the Sejuani gank. He was actually pushing at a commensurate rate. Uniq, they are on the pushing wave on bot lane. Vanir went pretty aggressive for the level 2 advantage trying to get it, but ultimately the wave's in a good position for Uniq here. Even if Sejuani comes to gank, it should be a simple 2v3 scenario for Uniq. They're going to get the crash, Victor's going to get the crash on mid, and now Uniq have full map control despite that early gank. Let's see if anything gets done with it, or if they just accept that level of early advantage and just try to get a stronger laning phase on the next set of rotations.
So do you feel like Uniq are in a position where kind of just chilling is going to be fine for them? Because I look at stuff like Renekton and Trundle, and play-by-play brain thinks these are champions that you want to be using to fight early, but then I look at the Victor and the Zeri and think that 3 items is a very good spot for them as well.
Yep, in terms of damage, obviously Unique's top side not so good, but the reason that we love Renekton is because even if he isn't the main carry of the game, he's still useful in terms of peel later on. He can layer on stuns, that sets up a lot of stuff for Uniq, and he can also just sit on the rest of Unique's faces and stun anyone who tries to get on top of them. He's going to be useful here even if he isn't steamrolling. Peterson using his advantage to go top side here. Zeri's going to be safe on this wave, going to be safe on the next wave, and the Uniq bot lane, they're leveraging this advantage they got off the early crash.
Antwer was just millimeters away from the chomp, trying to get a chase down onto Bloxy. Still level 3, does get level 4 just off that ward, and hasn't been able to find too much access into these lanes as of yet. I am intrigued how Vanir are going to be playing around that mid lane, because you saw how free Pedersen was to move up into that mid lane, and Antwer helping out Paul as well. So recognizing that even though this guy is not necessarily on a champion that we traditionally associate with him, he's still a very good spot for Uniq to carry from, and he needs to be protective.
Yeah, bot lane advantage. Peterson uses that to walk topside. He is bot side on time for the point where Zoe would feel threatened, right? Where the wave is now, Nautilus could be hiding in the bottom brushes or in the river brush, and it becomes very difficult for Cyrax to push out, but Peterson is here on time for it. That roam topside allowed Renekton to get an early back over the Gnar. That's actually advantageous for him in terms of items, and means the Renekton could maybe try to push through into an advantage. Victor kept the wave in a nice spot, but even though he's recalling now, Gragas could try to burst the wave, so Victor comes in with the teleport to try to dissuade Luca from doing so. But look at Victor's items, look at Gragas's items. Victor is clearly a bit ahead, and with the Dark Seal, is showing that he wants to be able to fight on the next push. If the Gragas can get some damage,
oh, hook in the bot lane. Pedersen caught out, is going to flash away. That should be enough to keep him alive. Returning a little bit of damage down onto Chrisberg is Cyrax, but not enough to trouble the Vanir AD Karyus. Found himself relatively even in the early stages. Chrisberg, a guy that usually comes out of lane with at least an 800 gold advantage. As Antwer maybe applying some pressure to the bot lane, but not much for now.
I mean, he's applying pressure just by being bot side at all. You were in a position where Cyrax and Peterson had cannon over Chrisberg and Touch, so that was a good time gank by Sejuani, but by surviving that gank, both the Victor and the Trundle leaning bot side meant that they would be able to contest for a good wave state. Nautilus and Xayah decided they didn't want to risk a dive, and so they started contesting the wave again and pushing it back into them. But as a result, Pool227 and Antwer have effectively helped in fixing what could have been a bad state of the game for their bot lane, and that's what we wanted to see, right? We wanted to see mid-jungle start to play together. Is it perfect? No, but it's better than nothing.
Oh, and this is better than anything for Vanir. They're finding a bit of damage onto Antwer, but they're a little bit low themselves. Neither team really wanting to commit for anything around the dragon. 7 minutes in, still no one going down.
Yep, wave reset on the bot side means that Cyrax and Peterson can come in and defend, and Chrisberg and Touch could continue to apply pressure, but the wave is actually overall better for Cyrax and Peterson now. Victor also allowing the wave to move back into him, but it looks like Gragas might be able to get a crash off. So on the next phase, you're looking for Trundle to help Pool227 get this wave out, which is definitely bouncing away from him now. And on that, let's see what they do with regards to bot lane or top lane, right? Top lane was able to get a good back off, but because so much action's happened on bot side, he hasn't been allowed to get all-in plays against the Gnar, which makes Gnar a very, very safe little Yordle, right? In those situations, in those weak side situations, he's not too bothered. Here, yes, he loses bone plating, but realistically, he doesn't have to do anything on this wave because it's pushing hard into him. He just trades really heavily on towards the Renekton because his jungler's topside and he knows Trundle isn't, so he's safe to do so. This will then allow Proxy to get the Herald, but Trundle, right, he's going bot side despite no camps being up there. This means either he's reacting to the Sejuani knowledge to try to make a play for this Drake, or he's intending to do something around this bot side that, you know, they think makes it worth not going for his camps on top. He's a bridge jungler, not a farming jungler. His bot lane is recalling. I'm confused what it is that he wants to do here. It looks like he was just worried Drake was being done, and now he figures it could be a free opportunity, but Peterson's behind.
I think he was sort of trying to avoid the vision that Vanir had with the little scuttle crab there, providing that vision shrine. But if Touch moves over, he's going to spot this one out, and Uniq realizing that the jungler may be at risk if he continues on this Drake, so pulling a couple of people over. Ploxy and Touch are here as well. There is a lot of engaged potential on Vanir, and actually, even though they're 3v4, they've been able to force Uniq away. They are going to get picked here through onto Antwer, but the Trundle is way too tanky. Ploxy's going to get the Drake, but Touch dies for first blood, and Chrisberg flies the feathers into the air, flashes back to get away. The cask saves Pedersen life, but Ploxy will not be so lucky. In the bottom lane, Uniq find 3 kills.
Okay, that's really good for Uniq. Now we could actually see how strongly Uniq play, because honestly, that set of rotations wasn't optimal for them, right? There used to be an argument back in 2019, 2020 discourse about whether you open these kinds of plays to Drake in lane or in river. And you had some teams going into lane and some teams going into river first. Uniq went into river and didn't even bother with lane, which allowed Gragas here for Luca to move down before the Victor. But Cyrax and Peterson, we've praised these guys before as a bot lane, play the fight so well, try to isolate away from Luca, and are able to herd their opponents and then basically slaughter them before Luca's able to have an impact. And then when Victor comes in, Luca is simply pinned in the middle of a numbers disadvantage and falls as well. So well played as a fight by Uniq, but still in terms of macro concepts, we'd like to see more from them. But this means we definitely will see more opportunities from Uniq to show us that they want to play these kinds of dynamics, river to lane, lane to river, and start considering them further on into the game. Normally we see Vanir winning these early fights, right?
Peterson might get caught out here. Oh, there was an attempt at playing the top laners. Peterson was just clearing a tri-brush ward there and maybe could again pull out. Actually, Ploxy, if you look there on the minimap, is making his way through the bottom lane. I think he is just going to be spotted on a ward, though.
Yeah. Realistically, if they engage on Peterson there, they just got one shot, by the way. Just to be clear. I haven't seen an
Annie in a while.
Like, please, by all means, do so. Like, Annie, look where Annie is. Look where Nautilus is. If Nautilus wanted to hook Annie, he'd just go in now. But he's aware what's going to happen if he tries, right? Like, it's not real to just engage on the Nanny at this point. If this truly...
Oh, there we are. There comes the engage. As soon as Ploxy walks away, Uniq take full advantage. The Ignite will burn down. Touch, ticking, boom, double kill for Cyrax.
Can we say something about Uniq from this game so far? They know how to pick fights, all right? And that's good. Is the macro there? Probably not. Do they really need expert tier macro to start to make a sense of improvement? No, they need to start playing together as a team and have clear coordinated plans, and they have that here, right? Antwer's playing very selflessly right now. Peterson, though, for my money, has been the MVP of the game so far. Nice, not too bothered by this. There's no way Lingui can freeze the wave, and there's no way he can actually... Oh, wait, he is going to.
I think he's just going to kill him.
Dude, the guy has flash and ult up, by the way.
It doesn't matter,
actually
apparently.
A couple of seconds away. He was a couple of seconds away, but I felt like Nias was safe there. But yes, apparently he's not. There you go. Blows. Sometimes it do be that way.
It's a Quantum of Solace for an early game, which hasn't been great for Vanir. And reminder, they need every win that they can get if they want to keep up the pressure on Verdant for that fourth playoff spot. And Uniq, they've sort of come out swinging, right? 3-0-2 now for Cyrax on the Zeri, who's going to scale absolutely extraordinarily, but is very, very strong right now. And it's happened against the bot lane in Chrisberg and Touch, who have been characterized by their ability to get leads out of this early game.
Yeah, but they are Nautilus into a ranged champion, and they didn't find anything level 1. So Uniq had that advantage, but the really impressive thing is how Peterson used it. If you want to talk about someone fixing the map, playing macro, and playing really well as a picker, as a fighter, Peterson's ticking every single box right now, and has been very impressive the whole game, which is good, because we like this bot lane of Cyrax Peterson. So one of them being so easy to highlight in total, and Cyrax playing the one big fight of the game really well so far.
I think we might be getting a fight in the bot lane. Peterson, very, very low, ignited, running away as fast as he can, but not fast enough. He's not going to care too much as he just gets another kill for his AD carrying with Antwer stood between Chrisberg and his tier 1 tower. This means more plates are going to be going in favor of Cyrax. Has actually fallen off now. We could be seeing first tower going solo to Azeri.
That's two waves that Chrisberg is just never going to see. Yes, and he died for the play, but the loss of XP, the loss of tower, and the massive gap Cyrax is going to have over Chrisberg more than makes it worth. You may think that was caster cursed, and maybe I'm giga coping, but definitely that play was worth the death from Annie, and it puts Uniq in a massive tempo advantage for the rest of the game, right? Now, Cyrax resets, could look to move topside, could look to move into mid lane, but they have full priority on this Herald after the Drake. though it looks like maybe they're trying to just trade the Drake for that Herald, which would not be such a strong idea because Herald would be Vanir's way of getting tempo back into the game. And we know Vanir, if they're good at anything, they're good at getting ahead on steps in the game.
Antwerp will be able to take down that Drake. Let's have a little look at the Rift. No, let's not have a look at the Rift Herald.
Ahead.
Yeah, he has been able to get on map, and actually Ploxy hasn't been able to take this Rift Herald low at all. Uniq are responding to the play. They are double dipping.
No flash.
Got the Drake, and now they're going to be able to get the Herald as well.
Reset.
There's no way that Vanir can keep doing this.
Peterson has flash in a few seconds, and he has the ult there. This is a very dangerous Annie with a lot of follow-up.
Rift Herald goes down, is going to be picked up by Nias. Double stun from Lingui with the Gnar! They are able to kill the Renekton on the backside. Chrisberg opening up with the feathers, getting the chunks down onto Pedersen and getting a kill onto the Uniq support. A little bit of a fumble on the play coming through from Uniq, and Vanir are more than happy to pick up that extra gold.
Yeah, Pedersen's ultimate just wasn't really it then. You know, something that we can say about Lingui basically every game is if anybody knows the good all-in engage opportunities, it's him. He's always been that guy for Vanir that's able to explode the game at certain points, and he's done it here. I feel like this Herald area is always where Lingui ends up shining. He's kind of mastered this particular point on the map with various engage champs, but very, very scary player to be up against if he has the ability to play make. Cyrax, though, he's still doing pretty well economically for himself, and Peterson, he's going to want to prove himself after being unable to find a huge game-winning stun in that fight. He's had a really good game so far, and they honestly only got the Herald because he was able very simply to just get topside before the Nautilus was, apply pressure, force them off. So even though they made that play on him, still decent play overall from Pedersen, but Lingui, definitely MVP of that fight.
Absolutely. This is a pretty dang long replay, veteran. There we go. We're back.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, is there something I'm supposed to see here, or are we in, like, is this a live game?
I don't know. Pedersen ghosting, getting the stun. Chrisberg ulting just in time to prevent himself from getting locked down, but it is Uniq playing on the front foot for now. Ploxy is going to be diving over the wall. That is a double route coming through, and Touch trying to get a pick as here comes Antwerp with the ult.
Oh,
getting a double stun, actually getting a killing spree onto Pedersen, saving that engagement for Vanir, but the health bars not quite there. The tower is still going to be falling down. Depth charge, getting a knock up onto Cyrax. Here comes Luca. Flash is online, but no explosive cast. It comes through onto Nias, and Touch will die for his aggression. Lingui still going forward in the mini Gnar form, playing with fire, but not getting burned.
Lingui and Touch found some really nice picks, but the damage wasn't quite there on the follow-up to execute on it. Still, impressive engage by Lingui on the flank there. Managed to get behind two of them, knocked Pedersen, knocked Cyrax into the wall there. Could have been game-winning in any other situation where the damage was there for Vanir, but where is that damage, right? You have a lot of Aegis Gragas, you have a Gnar, the Gnar basically being the engager there. All you really have here for damage is the Xayah, and the Xayah is only on the Gale Force right now, not an item famous for its damage properties, and Xayah not exactly a hyper carry. Sure, they can get these kinds of engages, but if they're not able to get somebody to the point where they can deliver serious burst or serious DPS, and honestly burst on those kinds of engages, it's going to be for naught, and Cyrax is just going to have the time of his life in the middle of that fight, and Pool 227 is going to be able to show that he can deal damage on more than just the Akali.
227, yeah, not in shop, smart stuff. Oh, still going to get hit by the explosive cast. Ploxy going over the wall, but not investing the Glacial Prison, is now going to use it to provide a little bit of disengage as Nias was teleporting to the play.
Yeah, I mean, looks a little bit risky, but instead Pool 227 didn't even have to burn a flash there. The ultimate will be on a cooldown, but there isn't something immediately to fight for. 45 seconds until the next fight. The Annie will have her cooldowns up. Very possible that the Victor will have the necessary stuff up.
Luca?
No way Luca dies here. No way. We're good. I mean, if he died here, that was two top lane plays where the guy had flash and just decided to die.
But he will be fine for the time being. And actually for Vanir, after that kind of disaster of a bot lane play early on, where Cyrex ended up 3-0-2 out of the whole end of things, the game sort of stabilized. The gold lead, not massive in favor of Uniq, and Vanir have definitely been able to do their own things. That tower falling is going to be great for them to help apply a little bit more pressure around the bottom side of the map, as we are going to get a Hex Tech Drake spawning, so something that both these teams will want to fight for.
Yeah. Well, is it Hex Tech? Yeah, it is. Huh, the top left says Ocean for me. Yep, okay, so Hextech and the Soul in general is going to be a really, really good one for either team to get, especially Vanir, because Vanir are so reliant on Chrisberg right now, right? And they definitely don't want this Sunny to have even lower cooldowns. Getting Chrisberg to the point where he can carry the rest of the game, that's what Vanir want. Maybe this Gragas is going to end up with some decent damage later, but right now it's all about the Chrisberg show.
There's 2 items on Cyrex. Uniq are going to commit for this, and Vanir are going to start to make their way over. Lingui is TPing towards the Baron. This is an attempt at a start, but then pulling away. Uniq sensing an opportunity and disengaging when that opportunity expires. Okay, that was decent stuff.
I mean, there are teams you could sneak that against, but Vanir invented this play in the NLC. They coded it into the game, and they're going to know you have that chance.
And where you're not allowed to clear Krugs. Luca with his first kill of the game, and Cyrex very, very swiftly taking the blast cone out of there. Vanir in an instant, really, have established control of this topside jungle. And hey, if you've got topside jungle control, you can start thinking about doing the Baron.
Yeah, for sure. But do they have a particularly fast Baron? It's going down very, very slowly to the point where Peters and Cyrex,
yes, there's no TP.
They can actually come here and contest.
4,000 HP. Pedersen has the flash, he has the Tibbers, he could go over the wall, but he's not going to stun anybody. Ploxy still able to get the Baron, and the feathers pulled back, cut through Uniq. Paul will die on the backside of the fight, and after a great early game, Vanir pull it back in the mid stages, get the Baron, and get a huge fight.
Oh, wow. Everybody just moving out of where the Annie ended up launching her ultimate. Vanir, they had a very slow Baron. Even though Uniq were far away, they would actually be able to contest that, and the contest ends up being all for naught. But are we sure this is a Vanir game? This is a Verdant pattern of play, all right? Make some errors in the early and come back through a Baron later on. Wrong V team, guys, wrong V team. But Vanir, you know, I think it's good to see that they're not just a snowball dependent team, right? That they can come back into the game later on through some nice plays and definitely coordination in these fight scenarios. It was a really coordinated dodge of the Annie there, and it was good for them to recognize that Uniq had the opportunity to do the Baron in the first place, right? So good series of plays by Vanir to come back in, and it shows us that these aren't just a one-note team either.
And I tell you what, something that you're going to have to implement in the playoffs is the ability to come back from disadvantages, right? When you are playing a game, a match over multiple games, playing that full best-of-3, best-of-5 series, you're inevitably going to be in positions where you're not at the strongest point. But Vanir, they pull themselves together. They go, actually, we are not out of this. We can still make plays. We can catch out Antwer. And the hook doesn't even have time to connect before the trundle is deleted. Vanir will take down the mid lane tower. They'll take down Paul in the side lane. A solo kill for Lingui. And with that Victor dead, the wave clear options are falling apart. Vanir push into the base.
Lingui is the greedy of NLC, right? Like, he understands when all-in options are really, really strong for his team, to a very strong extent, right?
Double stun from Pedersen. Cyrex chased into his fountain to his doom. Neas is the last one left alive for Uniq, and he will not be alive for much longer. Respawns started to come through. 8 seconds for Paul 227, so he could provide a little bit of wave clear. Vanir, do they look for the end? No, they'll back away. They'll take the lead that they've got for themselves over the last 10 minutes. They will recall very, very happy.
So it's going to be a decently timed win for Vanir, and it almost feels like Uniq weren't in the driver's seat for 22 minutes of the game, given that we're 25 minutes in now, and Vanir are just looking to close on the next rotations. So very impressive comeback by them. Lingui definitely, for my money, looks to be getting MVP status here. Nice timings on all of his engages, on all of his all-ins, as has become characteristic of this player.
Uniq, I'd recommend not walking into your topside jungle right now.
Don't walk anywhere outside of the base, to be honest.
Well, this is the brilliant thing that Vanir have done, right? They've taken those inhibs in the mid and the bot lane and gone, actually, those lanes are going to push for 3. We don't need to do anything. We are all about the top lane. We are all about getting this one shoved in. Uniq responding, but a dive could be on.
I mean, many teams would go for that Drake that just spawned, but Vanir know that if Uniq go for it, they lose the game.
Oh, yeah, well, they just completely bomber Pedersen into his death. Stun into the wall by Lingui on the backline, and Nias is actually able to find access onto Chrisberg and remove the Zai, but with 3 dead on his team, what could the Crocodile do? Vanir doing their best Steve Irwin impressions, hunting him down across the rift, taking him out, and of course, it's Lingui who gets the kill.
Just don't give Lingui engage. Just don't give Lingui engage. Like, he's seriously good on it. Every single one of these fights, he's finding flanks and he's finding multiple people in the backline, multiple crucial, critical targets in the backline, and he's winning the fights for his team. Though obviously the opening Gragas cast by Luca eliminated Pedersen. Pedersen had a really good start to the game, really nice map movements and really nice in 2v2, but this Annie has not been allowed to play League of Legends after the opening points, especially after the Baron went poorly for them. Yeah, looks to be a fairly clean Vanir win if you ignore the first 22 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and a great recovery, I guess, from Chrisberg and Touch, who are both 0 and 2 in the early stages, to be able to come back. That Zaya now on 3 items, and she's going to hurt regardless of her status as a champion. We're going to have Hextech Soul Point coming through for Vanir, but I wouldn't be very surprised if the game ends a little bit before that comes through.
Yeah, I mean, Vanir are on Soul Point. Surely Uniq are sweating about that now. It is worth pointing out that Uniq have actually managed to defend that top side, and these inhibitors are going to have to respawn eventually. If they're able to maintain this, maybe it's possible for them to do something around the respawning Baron. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously unlikely that Uniq will make a full comeback into the game. That being said, they have Victor, they have Zoe, they do have tools to win fights later on, and eventually Vanir do have to break that topside inhibitor and that topside inhibitor tower, so they do have to fight at least one more fight to win the game, and Uniq are progressively getting stronger. 12k gold on the Zeri, despite being on the losing team right now, actually very even with the opposing carries, and Victor may be a bit behind on the Gragas, but the damage and the consistent DPS he can do is incomparable to what Gragas does. So there are tools available for Uniq. If they get a fight in a choke like this, their champion's actually relatively good.
Oh, Don, actually they may get that fight, as Vanir have kind of fluffed a load of their engages, although their ultimates, it may not matter in the end, as Antwer is taken incredibly on the front side. And the gold lead, just a little bit too much, I fear, Veteran. It is only a single pick onto the jungler of Uniq, but that's going to signal Vanir heading back towards that Baron. Pedersen caught out in his jungle and will die for the 7th time this game.
Yep, I mean, this should be the final push, right? Pool 227 alone without an ultimate, that's not enough to defend this top tower. The mid towers are constantly being bombarded. Mid inhibitor will respawn now, but they don't have the players anymore to make the defense that they wanted.
Oh, no, who would be a top laner in a game like this? The game has fallen away, sort of outrun Nias on the Renekton, who really hasn't been able to contribute as much as he would have liked. Got that pick onto Chrisberg a couple of fights ago, but aside from that, the Renekton really hasn't worked out. Smart flash away from Paul to get out of that ultimate. Luca flashing under the tower, actually feeding a shutdown over. Okay, you really don't want to be giving gold to Cyrax. Lingui going mega. Engage potential is there, but Uniq are running forward. It's going to get turned around, and Paul is dead. Huge Gnar from Lingui, knocking them into the base, knocking them down. A double for Chrisberg, and that will be it. A triple for Isaiah in the end. Ploxy grabbing one for himself as well. Nias will be respawning, but it will just be seeing the shambles of his base fall around him in just under 30 minutes. Vanir get the win versus Uniq.
It looked so